Yeah, so after that first week, that weekend, my father saw the submarine and his friends. The next week was spent looking for big game fishing gear. So we went down to, and you can read this all in my book, the Submarine actually. My father and I went down to one of his friends' places. He owned a big second-hand shop called Art Smart. The guy was called Arthur Ridgway, a real bear of a guy, like a Viking. And he had all his fishing equipment that he sold. But he didn't actually sell the fishing equipment. He didn't like to sell it. He said it was sentimental, which was a load of bullshit. Anyway. But my father managed to wrestle a big fishing rod off, and a big fishing reel, big Pen 14 reel and 130-pound class fishing rod, with 130-pound Dacron on it. He got it off Arthur Ridgway. And my father went, and Arthur gave him a big hook, like a marlin hook. And we made up a trace, and the next Saturday, we were out in False Bay, and we ran down from Gordons Bay to Macassar Beach, which is about 18 kilometers, 15 to 18 kilometer run. And there's a water tower on the beach, and my father knew that he was lying, when he saw the shark the weekend before, he was lying in 22 meters of water on a reef off the water tower. And in fact, that is where the old fishermen said that they often saw the submarine, near the water tower in the summer months. So we got there, we dropped anchor, and we never chummed those days. We didn't put any chum in the water. We just put bait in the water, and we caught a couple of fish. I think we actually caught a bunch of small sharks on that reef, and my father threaded these small pajama sharks onto the hook, threw them into the water, and we just waited. We just waited. We carried on fishing. We were catching red Roman, red stump nose, and I don't know how long it was, maybe 2 hours. I was getting really bored. And at one point, I hooked a pajama shark, which is a striped pajama shark. And it was quite big. It was probably nearly a meter long. And I hooked this thing, and I brought it up. And the water was extremely polluted. I could see far down. And I saw it was a pajama shark. And I was bored. And my 12-year-old kid on board. So I stopped, and it was maybe 5-6 meters below the boat. I can't remember exactly. And the shark they'd done fight. So the shark was kind of snaking on the line. And I was watching it. And eventually I would bring it up and take the hook out and throw it back in the water. But while I was watching it, looking down there, suddenly at the corner of my eye, I just saw something massive. I saw something huge. And next thing, this huge, massive, monster great white shark came, and I watched it. And it came along, and its head went over my shark, and it kind of inhaled my shark, my little pajama shark, and it swallowed it, obviously. It just took it. And next thing, my line was going, and my line was in the submarine, and only for a couple of seconds, and it snapped off. And I looked down and I saw the marks, and immediately I knew it's a submarine. And I started screaming, "Dad, the submarine is below us, a submarine!" And my father was on the other side, and he jumped up. "What are you talking about?" I said, "There's a shark below, it's a submarine." And he was like, "Are you sure?" But by that time, the shark had moved off, and was like in the glare of the sun and everything, going towards the bait. I said, "Oh, but the freaking submarine!" And everybody on the boat was crazy. It was myself and Trevor Grant, who worked for my father, and my father was on the boat. And behind the bait, the shark obviously came up. There was this big swirl like that, and it looked like somebody had taken a monster spoon, like a giant spoon, and stirred the ocean. And this big swirl, and my heart was beating. I was so excited, and I'd never seen something like this. I didn't ever imagine seeing something like this, and I couldn't even comprehend it. And the shark came up, the submarine came up like this, and it came up to the boat, came up to the back of the boat, and passed up. And my father said, "It's the submarine." I won't say the language, but he said, "It's the submarine." And the whole boat hushed in silence, but I was jumping. I ran around following the shark, and cruised up the boat like that, cruised around, went down deep, and we were watching that float, because we had a 20-liter drum, black drum, and the cable hanging under it with the bait on it. And the submarine obviously took the bait, because next thing the drum started bouncing on the surface, and the hook must have got the shark, must have hooked the shark somewhere, because the black drum just suddenly started speeding across the surface, just like in Jaws. Plume of water, the drum speeding across the surface, and it went down like a submarine, boom, like a torpedo under the water. It was gone. And the reel on the boat was like screaming, like I'd never heard a reel scream like that before. This big winch of a reel screaming, and in my mind I could imagine pieces of plastic and bearings and parts flying out of this fishing reel. And we didn't know what to do. My dad quickly put on his fighting harness, and he climbed into the fighting chair on the back of the boat, and he was shaking hands. He clipped it in, and he tightened the drag, and he started pumping that shark. He started pumping it. And the shark just ran, and he said, my dad was shouting, get the anchor up, get the anchor up. So I ran to the controls, and I started the engines, and just then, the reel stopped screaming. Boom, it stopped. And the black float, about 150, 200 meters away, the black float came, boom, floating on the surface again. Dead like that, just floating. And everybody was on the boat, was like, what's going on? My dad said, I don't know. And he started reeling, and the float started coming back to the boat, and he said, the shark's gone. And he reeled it in, he reeled, and he reeled, and he reeled, and eventually we pulled in the cable, and that hook, that big marlin hook, I kid you not, was as straight as my finger, like that, was straight. So it obviously hooked it in the jaw, and the pressure of the drum and the pressure of the sharks going through the water, and my father pulling on that line, just straightened that hook like that. Bang. Straight as an arrow. And it was it. The submarine was gone. And we just like, wow, you know. Obviously the fishing gear that we had there, the hook and everything, was completely inadequate. But for me, I mean, the 12-year-old kid that was crazy about sharks, that was possessed by sharks. I love sharks. I just love everything about them. I saw the submarine, and I couldn't believe it. And what an impression on me. It had this enormous, powerful impression on me that was like a stamp. Boom, Craig Ferreira, you are going to be a great white shark dude one day. You're going to work professionally with these animals. And that was it. I mean, I was galvanized. The great whites, that submarine that day just turned my life around completely. More than that little one I caught. Anyway, we're on 6 minutes, nearly 7 minutes, so I'm going to stop this and have to continue another time.